Welcome back, folks. This is Acid Roots Wired. So this is part 11 of the Devil May Cry playthrough. So basically I took a pretty lengthy vacation from this, but I did have a bunch more footage recorded. There's probably like another episode or two, something like that I'd have to suppose in particular, but basically I did get kind of lost in this particular episode, but I would have to say I figured it out later on. I do have like a side playthrough that I've noticed for tips and pitches like that. I'd have to say it's a good enough concept. Really just boils down if I'm going to be able to actually beat this particular game. I wonder about it. I mean, it is some good stuff here, but I just have to question whether or not the difficulty is going to ramp up, especially near the end. I mean, I'm assuming that it's like Virgil or something like that, that's the final boss of this particular game and stuff. But this is a pretty haunting type game here. Definitely appreciate it. Just some good pitches to kind of get here. Yeah, I haven't played this game since 2022, but it's still pretty dope enough pitch. It's definitely one of the flagship games, I'd have to say, of like PlayStation 2 as far as that particular kind of goes. Just appreciate the aspect behind it. It's been kind of here and there just for that sort of stuff. So just within the rap type stuff and music type fold, there's been some stuff going on. Like as of right now, the aftermath of like the Drake and Kendrick beef had kind of happened. I'm just kind of, I don't know how full blown I kind of feel about that particular one. I kind of feel like it just in like what more so is just kind of here and there for me is just the concept that when I look after that, there's just not really much to talk about in like the hip hop media. It's really been centering on just like the Drake and Kendrick beef, and that's just about it. You know, you got what Joe Budden thinks about it. You got like what like Lazy Bone thinks about it. You got like what Common thinks about it. Just all these rappers just from that particular angle, but this is kind of the concept that it's not so much like it's that much of a deal, but I just kind of feel like I know that Kendrick is probably not going to drop an album out of this. It's too bad. Like when MGK dissed Eminem and like Rap Devil, he put that on a project, which is pretty awesome to help bolster the sales. But I feel like Kendrick's probably just going to leave it as like a digital single or something like that. Don't really suspect an album's going to come out of this. Same thing with Drake. I mean, Drake said last year that he was going to take a vacation, so it's just kind of a concept. But look after it's just mostly just purely for gossip and things like that, just so that kind of notation that I suppose is kind of the thing. But and then the only other thing that's kind of been in hip hop media in terms of at least May of 2024 has just been like the Diddy drama as far as that particular kind of goes. Puff Daddy, the stuff that he's been doing. You know, I understand the concept of not, you know, obviously Cassie Ventura was a pretty attractive woman. It's just kind of the concept. I would have to say maybe he was out of line for particularly doing that, just because I mean she's basically a pretty good dime piece to be able to suppose. I mean, I realize that sometimes women can get, you know, aggravating just in the aspect, you know, whether it's just being cheeky or something like that, but I still would have to say when he knocked you to the ground and stuff, it seemed kind of like extreme to kind of do that. I don't know, but you know, Diddy has just been paying off folks that sort of aspect. I'd have to say it's kind of within the nutrition of it, but it's just kind of, I mean, that's just been going on this whole year. I mean, ever since March, both the Drake and Kendrick beef and the Diddy stuff has just been incessant, and it's just not really much time for music. I mean, I remember like that Yeet dude dropping an album earlier this year, but that's just kind of the thing. That's really about the only thing I can really think of. You know, they talked about Beyonce, they talked about Yeet, and they talked about, really, that's about all I can think of. There's been a lot of beefs this year, you know, the Quavo and Chris Brown, just things like that, Nicki Minaj and Megan Thee Stallion, a bunch of those ones. But, you know, music's been pretty dry this year, I'd have to say in particular. There's not really much of, like, atmospheres to really mess along with as far as that particular thing goes. I've just been focused on all these album reviews. It's the main thing I'm going to get to here is just being able to do that. It's kind of being able to say and stuff that I realize that there's still a lot, like, you know, folks just understand that there's plenty more. I mean, it seems like when I'm reviewing things like Killer Mike and the Got Perp album and some of those type ones, and Rich Boy and some of those more, not necessarily second rate, but just kind of secondary and tertiary type ones as far as that particular kind of goes. There's a lot more of those. There's going to be more reviews like the Hot Styles one that seemingly most folks probably don't even realize about them. Just little gems from like 2008 and 2010, some of those type of ones. I just have got like a whole bunch of these to particularly kind of get towards. It's not just rap music either. You know, we're gonna go in rock music, metal, country, R&B, pop, some of those type ones. It's pretty good assortment of a lot of these. But this has been kind of I don't know. I mean, like, another thing all this drama's kind of done is made me kind of think of, like, the Death of Slim Shady album. I mean, obviously the last time I did a Devil May Cry video, Eminem was, he had just dropped Curtain Call 2. But I kind of look after it now that he's coming back with the Death of Slim Shady. I'm really hoping Eminem does not drop the ball with this particular project. I just kind of look after it. I mean, I'm not as super annoyed that he's killing off Slim Shady just because I look after it like Everlast kind of killed off Whitey Ford. There was, like, I don't know if he was full-blown a Whitey Ford character, but just the concept of, like, I don't know, he had, like, a 1998 album that had to do with Whitey Ford Sings the Blues, but by, like, 2011, I mean, really, Everlast's Whitey Ford character didn't even last past, like, the subsequent decade, because there was, like, an album in 2011 or so that was called, like, The Ghost of Whitey Ford or something, so he killed off that character pretty quickly. But Eminem, obviously, I mean, it's been his bread and butter since, like, 97. This is kind of the concept. You think back to, like, the Slim Shady EP. I just kind of look after it. I mean, I recognize that Eminem is past 50, and it's kind of like, he can't just be, like, a prankster pushing 60 and some of those type things. But I just look after it. It's just kind of the concept. I hope he does it with grace and finesse and doesn't just try to take, like, I don't know, because it seems like a lot of times Eminem is trying to take, like, the high road, or at least the moral high road, where it's just kind of underneath the concept of him wanting to do the upright things and just ethically correct type things. He's trying too hard to be PC or politically correct as far as that particularly kind of goes. I just look at it, it's not like I have a full-blown problem with doing the right thing within that aspect, but don't be a cornball about it. It's just kind of the aspect behind, like, when you think of a song like Not Afraid off Recovery, that was a good example of Eminem kind of making a song for the military and for bravado and ambition and some of those type things. And I'd probably say that The Monster was a decent example of that too, just a good example of just, like, beating addictions and some of those type things. But I just look after it. Hopefully Eminem can pull this off and not try to just become a cheese ball, something like that. I just would have to suppose. We'll have to see about it, but it definitely integrated my respect for the Marshall Mathers LP too. So I just would have to say and stuff, as I look upon that particular project, I just would have to suppose that is kind of, I mean, it may not be a full-blown classic. There's definitely some songs on that particular album. There's more than a few, I would have to say, like songs like Stronger Than I Was, and then Love Game with Kendrick Lamar, that were just kind of some poor type ones. But I just didn't like the kind of everlasting Kid Rock type songs that Eminem put on the Marshall Mathers LP too. Him trying to do, like, some of that country rap, and he just wasn't that good at it. He just picked some poor kind of diner rap kind of productions on there that just didn't work that well. This would have to say and stuff, but I did like most of the album. I liked a lot of those haunted ones. I mean, if you look hard enough, you can actually see that the Slim Shady character was at least on there in elements. It's the concept. I mean, it was a decent evolution of, like, the Marshall Mathers LP. Eminem may not have been as spastic, but he was definitely more brooding, and he definitely had, like, the concept of just being more contemplative, which I do appreciate. So it's just the concept that even if it didn't have the songs like Kim and Kill You on there and some of those type ones, and the recreational fun of songs like I'm Back and Drug Ballad and some of those type ones, I do feel like it did have some great songs on there. Like Bad Guy is a classic Eminem song circa the 2010s. I would have to say that, like, there's some ones in there like Evil Twin that are pretty good, and some of those type pitches. There's some real nice ones. And Brainless, some of these just more haunting type ones that just take it. It may not be full-blown relapse type territory, but I would definitely have to say they're just kind of frenetic and just kind of more manic and stuff like that, which I do appreciate. I like Eminem and kind of some of those schizo type ones. We're almost at the end of this gameplay segment. This is basically just kind of a messing around type clip. I mean, the last 2 minutes of this video are going to be me finishing the stage, but I just couldn't figure out what to do, so I had to look up a walkthrough. I don't know if I was full-blown getting annoyed or whatnot, but I just would have to kind of say and stuff as far as that particularly kind of goes. It's just kind of the aspect of, like, I do have to keep that walkthrough offhand. I just would have to say this in terms of wanting to do that. So I do like this missile cannon gun. It's definitely a pretty awesome one. Hopefully there's some more guns like that in the future as far as that particular kind of goes along with it. It's a real nice one. I mean, it's kind of sluggish, but I do appreciate the concept because it annihilates the enemies real quickly. So, that's kind of the concept. So, Yeah, that's the basic concept. Me just talking about Eminem on this particular project. So yeah, it gets a higher score, I would have to say. Just me looking after that, being able to appreciate it and recognize that Eminem's prime is a lot higher, or a lot lengthier than originally I thought it was going to be. It's a pretty dope concept. But I'd have to go back and look into Shady 15 just to see about that one, because I do at least like Guts Over Fear, and possibly like Vegas with Bad Meets Evil, some of those type ones. I mean, it's a short album, it's only 12 songs, and Eminem's not in every single one. If there wound up being a lot more on that particular one, I'd probably say the same thing. But I don't know, I mean, definitely, I still don't like Revival that much, and Kamikaze is just kind of meh, just here and there as far as that particular kind of goes, but I just look after it. At least being able to say that if Eminem drops the ball with the death of Slim Shady, at least I can say that his prime years last a little bit longer. And I'm doing that with a lot of things. It's just like the Drake and Kendrick beef has taught me to appreciate more folks like Lil Baby and Gunna and folks like that, and you know, just more trap rappers and some of those type folks. Maybe even Roddy Ricch and Moneybagg Yo and some of those type folks. I just would have to say. I'm probably eventually going to start messing with some of them as far as that pitch kind of goes, just to be able to say, because I just feel like as this new era kind of shows up, as we get to like the Yeet and Four Bats type days, some of those type folks, and Sexy Red and some of those, you know, Chicas like Sexy Red and Ice Spice and some of them, I just would have to suppose I just would have to look after it. Me just kind of questioning as far as like, you know, what the next few years of rap's going to be like. This may question if trap's going to last longer, or if you know, it's going to be some new subgenres and stuff like that, this kind of thing. But yeah, it's just been a rambling episode. Haven't really talked much about the game, but it's just kind of the concept. I just feel like it's probably a good fair just to be able to do that within that sense. So it's the basic concept. But we did get Mission 7 taken care of, so it took a little bit, but that's kind of the concept. I do have more gameplay, at least another mission or two, something like that. So just stay tuned. We'll get towards that, and that's the basic concept of it. So see you in the next one.